I'm going to relate to you conversations I had with three of the most esteemed participants in their individual fields. And the doubts they had. The concept of safek, doubt. The first one occurred exactly 40 years ago. Almost to the day, 40 years ago. This man, I'm not going to give his name, was one of the most famous people ever in the underworld type life. And I met him through mutual friend, this and that. But let me get to the point. He had a question to ask me. I was only 31 years old at that time, but I was an accomplished tennis player, and I was known as a Jewish scholar. And the man asked me this question: is it worth it? Is it worth all the pain? Before I give my answer, take a look at my face, because I'm in pain now. Take a look at my forehead, at the brow furrows. His was all lined like this. He was only about 5 years, 6 years older than me now. So the question he asked me was, is it worth it? Is it worth all the pain? Look in my eyes. Am I having pain now? My answer then was that you should do what you think is right. You don't know what's right. You only find out what's right after. You don't know what's right here. After you're dead, you find out if you were right or wrong. Obviously, he was unhappy. So I go on to the next. These occurred around the same time, which is about 20 years ago. The only man's name I'm going to give here is the first one, which was Bobby Short, a cabaret pianist here in New York, and fabulous. You know, he used to perform at the Carlisle. He was the highest level of cabaret performer. Now, one of the things I do is I write songs on piano, and I play piano, and I sing. And coming from New York, most of my music is like New York style. So it's like, not really cabaret songs, but like that, you know, with a Charles Aznavour influence. So I see him while I'm walking to the tennis all the time for years. I nod, but you know, I keep my respectful distance. And I'm writing songs all my life, and nothing was ever done with my songs. And finally, one day, I come up to him and I say, Bobby, tell me. I said, you know, I've been writing songs for 30 years, actually more. Been writing songs for enough. I haven't been able to do anything with it. How can I get them done and play out there? So he turns to me. He says, what do you want to do that for? It's a miserable life. Playing in bars, hotels, liquor being served. I forget if he told me that, but I'm going to add that. It's a miserable life. Playing all night. Implying to those type of people that he was playing to. So he was unhappy with his life too, the highest level. Just like the first man was unhappy with his life. Then my third story was of the most famous pediatric neurosurgeon that I used to teach. Let me leave his name out too. All these three men are dead, otherwise I wouldn't be telling you the story. And he would play with me and we'd go after the lesson into the, locker room, take a shower. It's a relaxed moment for people, especially for a neurosurgeon. One day he says to me, it wasn't worth it. I was an expert neurosurgeon. I am an expert neurosurgeon, he said. But quite frankly, I saved maybe 6 people that no other doctor could have saved. All the others could have been saved by other doctors. It wasn't worth me giving up my life for saving 6 people. So he was disappointed too. Now, he received in his society and in our society the highest kudos, doctor. Oh, he's a pediatric neurosurgeon, the highest doctor in the world. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it for this doctor. It wasn't worth it for this fabulous performer and musician. Listen to his music, Bobby Short. And it wasn't worth it for this wonderful man who was the underworld participant. They were unhappy in the totality of their life. The societal, for some reason, crushed them. And if you look at my face now, it's a far cry from only a few months ago being the happiest man in the world. I'm proceeding on. But sometimes things change. This is phase 2 for me. Most people proceed upwards in a scale. I was born in the highest and am proceeding downwards. And that, in my opinion, is the way the Torah works. You were born in Gan Eden. Adam was in Gan Eden and was kicked out. And so this world is a downgoing. One must return to one's original source. And as I'm saying this, you see I'm feeling better. Don't get trapped in the downgoing. It's a teshuvah, a return to the original source. The entire structure down here is formulated to crush you. That's why the Jew is the olive oil. You crush the olive to make the oil. So these three deep, highest echelon people in the societal world felt the same way. Is it worth it? And I give the same answer now that I gave 40 years ago when I was just 31 years old. It's for us to do down here, not to judge. Do what you think is right. Listen to your particular voice. You're being spoken to all the time. How to listen to your voice. In school, you have to raise your hand and give out your voice and wait for the teacher to say yes or no, you're right or wrong. That's the first mistake. To wait for somebody else's seal of approval. You're being spoken to at all times. Listen to the voice within and act upon it. It's tough because safech, doubt, creeps in. Doubt creeps in from the societal. Doubt creeps in saying, how could it be that your voice that you hear is correct? Do what you think is right. That's my advice. And there was a Hasidic group that thinks that you should do according to what you hear. And when you have doubts or don't hear anything, then you follow halacha. And you're being spoken to all the time. Just like I'm being spoken to now. And everything I've said here is what I was spoken through. And it's a very deep concept. Does my face look lighter now? Are the lines on my forehead different now than the start of the video? This is so deep, but that's what Kabbalah is. Kabbalah is the received. To kibel the hay, Kabbalah. Not much different than teshuvah, to return the hay. It's this hay. And what is this hay? And that's what you're going to have to find out for yourself.